purple emperor here at Wellow. It's just gone up onto there. It was on the floor here. It's now just on that hazel. That's what I've come to look for today. Now in that shot there is a purple emperor. Unfortunately, it's about 20 feet up. But as I look at it now, I'll try and describe to you exactly where it is. It's just more or less in the centre of the screen. You've got this piece here, which is actually sallow, and then just there's two bits of hazel that are growing up, and the butterfly is just below where they are. It's just flipped its wings. There's a bee near it, so we may get a slight glimpse of it in flight. I was just walking down through here at Wellow. It is moving now, the butterfly. I think it's going to take flight in a minute, and it was on the floor. Just further up that I've walked past, there's a really good sort of damp puddle, and there it flies. It's flying down somewhere behind me. It's now it's flying along the path at about 4 to 5 feet. It's gone distant. My first Wellow purple emperor. It's down there on the ground, and it's a stunning male. You'll see you can just see it there flying. It's come back down. Now this may well be the encounter that I've been after. It's flying just further up there. It's still around the path. It's just come back down on the path again. We'll see if we can get anywhere close to this one that's gone off again. Well, the purple emperor appears to have headed off up there. Now just up there, about 50 yards away, is a really suitable site that I was going to sit by for 5-10 minutes, but I thought no, I'll walk down and see, because butterflies were seen here yesterday. Nick and Samantha Brownlee had 3 purple emperors yesterday, one of which was just here and one just further behind me where I was walking down to. I think what we'll do, this one's obviously coming down to feed at salts. It's quite breezy today, so I didn't expect them to be at the top of the trees, but I'm after a photo of a male purple emperor today, and I'd like to see this one close at hand. Well, this is that stretch of muddy puddle I mentioned in the previous clip, and I had walked up here. There was no sign of that male purple emperor, so I just started to walk back down there. I was going to carry on with my walk to the end of this particular track, but all of a sudden it appeared in front of me and it's sort of gone further down back down the track. It's maybe down near its original location. Now, where I did see it earlier on a few minutes ago, that is one of the places where Nick and Samantha Brownlee had a purple emperor yesterday, one of 3. I've got 2 choices really. I could sit here and stake this out, because there's every likelihood that that same purple emperor, or maybe another one, will come down to drink at what remains of this damp soil for salts and minerals. Or I could walk down first, see if there are any purple emperors flying around the tops of the trees or at any other puddles, but knowing Wellow as well as I do, this will be the only damp area of woodland path. I think we'll have a wander and we'll see what else we can find on the way, but keep an eye out for purple emperors. I don't anticipate any marvellous footage, so don't get your hopes up. I'll give you a bit of a shot there, and I need to try and get this. You can see out of its left forewing, as we look at it now, there is a chunk out of it. Now the camera is no more than a foot from this beautiful male purple emperor. We can change that to 6 inches now because this purple emperor has moved closer to the camera. Get it at the right angle. It appears perfectly brown there, but if it was to turn sideways slightly, we'll see why this tatty individual is called the purple emperor. That's just a hint. There's more than just purple emperors which are doing this, going for salts. At the moment I've seen even meadow browns and comma, red admiral doing it, and a number of speckled woods as well. And there you can just look at that. Oh. There's a rare sight. There's 3 commas on these feces. I don't know whether it's fox. I don't think it is. It's dog, I think. But commas are in good numbers at the moment. They've had a really good year. There's lots of egg laying going on at the moment, and a lot of individuals are visiting the ground for moisture and salts. The comma is a beautiful butterfly, and many years ago, I think it was in the early 1950s, it underwent a huge population crash and a range constriction. It ended up, I seem to think, where the vast majority of commas in the UK were restricted to the Wyre Valley, but gradually over time this butterfly increased. This is one of those success stories that never gets a mention in the butterfly press. Well, the sun's just starting to come through a bit more now. It's been a mostly cloudy day today, but there's a fair bit of insect activity. But here there aren't that many butterflies. The trouble is with fine, very dry weather, which we're experiencing now and have done here in Nottinghamshire for several weeks now, we've hardly had any rain at all. And that affects butterflies and moths and most other insects. It shortens the life cycle. If the weather is fine and dry, butterflies and moths are able to fly each day and each night, and so they soon become sort of mated and lay their eggs and then totally spent, and the cycle starts again. But whenever it is very dry like this and the plants are starting to suffer now, there's a lot of dieback and plants on the forest tracks, and the grass is very brown in parts, not so much here. But the lack of healthy green food plant is another factor which prompts or triggers low numbers of species. And one butterfly which should be probably reaching towards a peak now but isn't is gatekeeper. I don't know what it's like in the rest of the UK, but here in Nottinghamshire there are very few gatekeepers. There's not that many meadow browns either, and that's something I've noticed before in recent years. There's been good numbers of ringlets. Ringlets have done well and have been suited, but most of the browns are struggling. So whether gatekeepers are going to appear a little bit later, but there are hardly any. In fact, I've just seen just the one so far here at Wellow Park. So the plan of attack now is to turn around and have a steady walk back and see what we can turn up, see if there's any more purple emperors. But you never know what's going to turn up. Now, I was just walking back towards the car at Wellow Park when I noticed this conspicuous flower, although the flowers, as you can see, are quite, well, at first glance, dull and green and uninteresting. But this, I believe, is broad-leaved Helleborine, which is an orchid, and I thought that this was the only plant of its kind here. But as I look along to the right of me now, there are many of them, but they're very inconspicuous. We'll have a look, see if we can get it to stay in focus, and we'll see if we can get a bit closer. It's quite a beautiful flower. And here it is. Orchid identification is by no means straightforward for the majority of species, from what I can gather. But a quick look on the internet suggests that I won't be too far off by calling this out as broad-leaved Helleborine. The leaves are narrow and smaller at the top, but then as they get towards below the flower spikes, they become broader and considerably larger. But when you look at these flowers individually, they are absolutely beautiful, as are all orchid flowers. I don't think there's a horrible orchid flower or an ugly looking orchid flower anywhere. They are all truly amazing. Nottinghamshire is not blessed with a variety of orchid, at least as far as I know. There's no doubt some fairly rare specimen tucked away somewhere. But I just love orchids. They're not an everyday thing that you'll find, and indeed many people that live in the county will never have seen orchids, or probably even have no idea that orchids grow in the wild here. But it's a lovely thing. And there's the top of the flower, so copious amounts of flowers. I've just read that there can be between 60 and 100 flowers on a single stem. But it really is a beautiful thing, isn't it? Well, it's been a pleasant way to spend a couple of hours. 2 purple emperors, my first here at Wellow Park. Can't be bad, can it? And neither were at treetop height either. They're quite easy butterflies to find and see at low levels, but they are a bit difficult to follow because they are fast flyers. Several red admirals just fresh out as well, and a single painted lady seen today, but there's small numbers of gatekeepers, hardly any. I think I ended up with 2 gatekeepers, and that's unbelievable really. But small one was also meadow browns, and now ringlets are just starting to tail off. So I'm going to walk along there now and back to the car for a drink. But it's been a nice little visit. Nice to finally get purple emperor on this local patch of mine. It's a patch that Dillis and I have visited many times over the years. It's a shame it took me so long to finally track down purple emperor here. What I need to do now is try and track down where the female of purple emperors are laying their eggs. Now that would be a nice record.